You're not the person they call first. You're the person they call when the first person doesn't answer. You're not the one they're excited about. You're the one who's available, reliable, safe. And you know this. You feel it. In the way they reach out, casually, when it's convenient. In the way they talk about you, fondly, but never urgently. You're chosen. But you're not chosen. And there's a specific psychology to this. To being the second choice. To feeling like you're always the backup. The fallback. The better than nothing. And it shapes you in ways you don't always see. You don't always have proof. But you know. You know in the way they respond. Not quite enthusiastic. Not quite invested. They reply, but it takes hours. They make plans, but only when nothing better came through. They include you, but you feel like an afterthought. And when you bring it up, gently, carefully, trying not to sound needy, they tell you you're overthinking. That you're imagining things. That they care about you. And maybe they do. In their way. But caring and choosing are different things. You can care about someone and still not prioritize them. Still not make them feel essential. Still not treat them like they matter in the way they need to matter. And so you're left in this strange liminal space. Not quite rejected. Not quite wanted. Included, but not embraced. Valued, but not treasured. And the worst part is, you can't quite name it. There's no dramatic betrayal. No clear line crossed. Just this persistent, quiet feeling that you're always slightly less important than you want to be. That if you disappeared, they'd notice. Eventually. But they wouldn't be devastated. They'd be inconvenienced. And that knowledge, that your absence would be felt as an inconvenience rather than a loss, that's the psychology of being the second choice. Here's the question that haunts you: why do you stay? Why do you accept being treated like an option when you want to be treated like a priority? And the answer is more complicated than weakness. Sometimes, it's because second choice still feels like being chosen. And being chosen at all, even conditionally, feels better than being alone. Sometimes, it's because you've convinced yourself that this is what you deserve. That you're not the kind of person people choose first. That being the backup is your role, and wanting more is asking too much. Sometimes, it's because you hope. You hope that if you stay long enough, if you prove yourself enough, if you're patient and understanding and low maintenance, they'll eventually see your value. They'll upgrade you from second to first. But that rarely happens. Because the position you accept is the position you get. If you teach someone that you'll tolerate being the second choice, they have no reason to change the dynamic. Why would they? You're already there. Already available. Already willing. And so the pattern continues. You wait. You accommodate. You accept crumbs and tell yourself it's a meal. Not because you're naive. But because being the second choice still feels like connection. And connection, even diluted, feels better than nothing. But here's what you don't see while you're in it. You're not just accepting less than you deserve. You're teaching yourself that less is all you're worth. Every time you accept being treated as optional, you reinforce the belief that you are optional. And that belief becomes the foundation of how you relate to everyone. Not just this person. Everyone. You start approaching relationships preemptively positioning yourself as the low-maintenance one. The understanding one. The one who doesn't ask for too much. Because if you're easy to keep, maybe they'll keep you. But easy to keep often means easy to take for granted. Being the second choice once is painful. Being the second choice repeatedly is a pattern. And patterns don't happen by accident. They happen because something in you is drawn to these dynamics. Something in you accepts them before they even fully form. Maybe you learned early on that love is conditional. That you have to earn it. That being chosen requires proving your worth over and over. Maybe you grew up feeling like you had to compete for attention. For affection. For basic consideration. And so now, as an adult, you're unconsciously drawn to situations where you have to compete again. Where you have to prove yourself. Where love is something you earn rather than something you receive. You're repeating the original wound. Not because you want to. But because it's familiar. Because your nervous system recognizes this dynamic and mistakes familiarity for safety. And so you keep finding yourself in relationships where you're almost enough. Where you're liked, but not loved. Where you're included, but not central. Different people. Different circumstances. Same feeling. And each time, you tell yourself, this time will be different. This person will see me. This person will choose me. But they don't. Because the pattern isn't about them. It's about you. It's about the part of you that believes being the second choice is what you're meant for. The part that feels uncomfortable being someone's first priority because that level of importance doesn't match your internal sense of worth. And until you address that part, until you examine why you keep accepting this position, you'll keep recreating it. With different faces. Different names. Same dynamic. Because you're not attracting people who treat you as second choice. You're accepting people who do. And there's a difference. Being treated as the second choice doesn't just hurt in the moment. It changes how you see yourself. Every time you're chosen last, chosen reluctantly, chosen as a default, it confirms a story you're already afraid is true, that you're not quite enough. Not quite interesting enough. Not quite attractive enough. Not quite special enough to be someone's first thought. And over time, this becomes your identity. You stop expecting to be prioritized. You stop believing you deserve to be. You start preemptively lowering your expectations so you're not disappointed when people treat you as optional. You become smaller. Quieter. Less demanding. You tell yourself you're being mature. Realistic. Low maintenance. But really, you're just protecting yourself from the pain of wanting more and not receiving it. And the tragedy is, the more you shrink yourself to fit into the space people are willing to give you, the more you confirm that you're not worth more space. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You accept being the second choice because you don't believe you deserve to be the first. And because you accept it, people treat you accordingly. And because they treat you accordingly, you believe even more deeply that this is all you're worth. The cycle tightens. And before you know it, you're not even angry anymore. You're just resigned. This is how it is. This is who I am. This is what I get. But it's not. You're not inherently the second choice. You've just been choosing people who position you there. And staying in dynamics that confirm it. And that's different. Because if it's a choice, it can be changed. So how do you stop being the second choice? You stop accepting it. Not with anger. Not with ultimatums. But with clarity. You start noticing when you're being treated as optional. And instead of rationalizing it, excusing it, waiting for it to change, you name it. To yourself first. Then, if necessary, to them. I notice I'm not a priority to you. And that's okay. But it's not what I'm looking for. Not as an accusation. Just as an observation. And then you act accordingly. You stop being available at their convenience. You stop waiting for them to realize your value. You stop auditioning for a role you've already been cast in. You step back. Not as punishment. But as self-preservation. Because staying in a dynamic where you're the second choice doesn't make you noble. It doesn't make you patient or understanding or mature. It makes you complicit in your own diminishment. And breaking the pattern doesn't mean finding someone who chooses you first. It means becoming someone who refuses to be anyone's second. It means believing, deeply, that you deserve to be chosen with enthusiasm. With certainty. With intention. And if someone can't offer that, you walk away. Not because they're bad. Not because you're bitter. But because you finally understand that being alone is better than being someone's maybe. That no relationship is better than a relationship where you're always wondering if you're enough. And when you start living from that place, when you stop accepting scraps and start requiring reciprocity, something shifts. You stop attracting people who see you as optional. Because you're no longer available to people who can't see your value. And slowly, the pattern breaks. Not because you found the right person, but because you became the right person, for yourself. If you've spent your life being the second choice, you're not broken. You're not unworthy. You're not too much or not enough. You've just been accepting treatment that doesn't match your value. And teaching yourself, through that acceptance, that you don't deserve better. But you do. You deserve to be someone's first thought. Their clear choice. Their, yes, absolutely, you. Not their backup. Not their fallback. Not their, I guess. And the first step toward receiving that isn't finding someone who sees it. It's refusing to stay with anyone who doesn't. It's walking away from people who treat you as optional. Even when it's lonely. Even when it's hard. Even when they tell you you're overreacting. Because being chosen reluctantly is not being chosen. And you deserve more than reluctance. You deserve someone who is certain about you. Who doesn't need to be convinced. Who doesn't make you feel like you're competing. And until that person arrives, being alone, truly alone, but with your dignity intact, is infinitely better than being someone's second choice.